I want to go over the quarterback position, because obviously when you look at Alabama's team this upcoming season, the biggest question mark is at the quarterback position. I think the offensive line and the receiving room are both positions of great talent. Those are places where Alabama, it's very clear who the guys are. And I think with the quarterback room, it's clear who the guys are. And I think most people have a pretty good assumption that Ty Simpson is your starting quarterback. But the question becomes, the allure of it, Keelan Russell. Who is he? Is he a guy that's going to be able to compete for that starting position? If you watched my episode with Joe Gaither, we talked a little bit about this. And what me and him hinted at is that our thought process, and I agree with Joe in this, is that Ty Simpson is your starting quarterback unless he gives you some reason not to be, right? I think that Ty Simpson is the starting quarterback, and I think that he is not only the starting quarterback, I think that he is good enough to keep the starting job and to be the starting quarterback throughout the season, right? I think that he has the ability to be the leader. Obviously, he's doing the things with taking the linemen out, taking the players out. I think that he is doing what it takes to be the leader on the team. I think that he also is well respected because he stayed all these years, whether it be Nick Saban leaving, whether it be the ability to transfer when a new coach comes in. He loses the starting job to Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe stays for another season when DeBoer comes in. Over and over and over again, Ty Simpson had the ability to leave. And I think that his team greatly respects the fact that he stayed and wanted to continue to compete for that starting job. I think that he also has the respect of his teammates because I think that he's just a ball guy, right? I think he's a football guy. And I think that, you say a lot of that because his dad is a high school football coach. Reminds me of a Jalen Hurts in that situation where Jalen, dad's a high school football coach and, he's just all football all the time kind of thing. So that really, for me, it really feels like Ty Simpson has the respect of his teammates, and that goes a long way. When you're looking at Keelan Russell, it's raw talent, right? The raw talent is undeniable, right? I talked about it in the sense of Tua versus Jalen. I felt like Tua had more raw talent than Jalen, but Joe brought up a very valid point. The big difference in Tua and Jalen is at the time, Jalen Hurts was just not a polished passer, right? Jalen was mostly a running quarterback that could do one, maybe two reads, whereas Tua could go through the progressions. The difference when you're looking at Ty versus Keelan, Ty has the ability to go through those progressions, and it's not like not to say that the physical skill set isn't different, because of course it is, but it's not as vastly different as it was with Tua and Jalen, right? With Tua and Jalen, you unlocked a completely different skill set running the offense when you brought in Tua. So I don't think this is a situation where you bring in, Ty's struggling and you bring in Keelan and he immediately revitalizes and unlocks something that Ty was unable to do, right? And that's the big thing that you saw with Tua and Jalen. The reason why Nick Saban goes to Tua in that national title game is you had seen every time in mop-up duty, Tua would come in and what he was able to do passing the football and throwing the ball was just undeniable, right? It was clear that he could do things with the football in the air that Jalen just couldn't do. Now, has he developed that ability now? I mean, Jalen won a Super Bowl, for goodness sakes. Of course. But Tua was able to do things in the air with the football that Jalen just couldn't do. I do not think that the difference is that when you're looking at Ty versus Keelan. I think that Keelan has more maybe raw talent, but I think that Ty, again, is a more than capable quarterback. He has the athletic ability that surprises a lot of people. When you think about Ty Simpson, especially because he was behind Jalen Milroe, a lot of people look at him, I think because you saw like an A.J. McCarron or a Greg McElroy, those are some of the Alabama quarterbacks you think of. You don't think of a guy that really can run the ball. In reality, he's much more of a Jake Coker, right? He's much more of a guy that has that physical ability and a guy that absolutely can run the football. Alabama used him in some of the mop-up duty this last season. He was running the football quite often, actually. So it really feels like Ty Simpson was doing or can do, right? Not to say that he will do it, but he can run the football and does have that athletic ability that I think surprises a lot of people, right? It's not like he's just a statue back there behind the line of scrimmage. So again, I think that Ty Simpson is your starting quarterback day one. I think that he unlocks your ability. I think that he also just gives you another passer that can go through the reads. And when you talked to, again, something that Gaither mentioned was something that Nick Saban talked about a lot. You don't lose games just by taking the positive yards, right? I think that what Ty Simpson is going to be able to do is what we saw for years with AJ McCarron, is what we saw for years with Greg McElroy, with Jake Coker, with all these different guys. Just keep giving positive plays. And even better, because of the receiving core that you have this upcoming season, you have guys like Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton and Ryan Williams. You have elite receiving core. And because of that, you have guys that definitely have the ability to break open the game at every facet of the football, right? If you can get it to them in space, if you can just be on target and on time, they can do the rest for you. It's not like you have to be some hero with the football. This is not a situation where the quarterback has to go out there and try to win every game for you. You have a ton of playmakers, and if you can get it to those playmakers, they can make plays. And so I think that's where Ty Simpson is going to be able to, have success. I think that Ty Simpson, again, is going to have the respect of those guys. Everything that I have seen points to him having that respect, and him having that respect gives him that ability to, he's the guy. And as long as he's the guy, I think that Alabama actually succeeds. I think that Alabama's quarterback room is set for the future because I think that Ty Simpson is going to be very good this upcoming season. I actually do think that he's going to be a top maybe 5 quarterback in the SEC. I think that he has that ability. Under Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, I think he has the ability to be a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. And if he's a top 5 quarterback in the SEC, the sky's the limit for this team. Because we talked at length about the defense. And Alabama's defense this upcoming season is going to be very, very, very good. The question then becomes, if the quarterback play and if the offense can help the defense out and give you the offense that last season at times was lacking, Alabama has the ability to win, as many games as possible, right? I don't want to say go undefeated, right? But definitely that ability is there, right? Will they do it? We'll see, right? But they definitely have that ability because the defense is going to be absolutely incredible. You have the playmakers out wide. You have an offensive line that's going to be one of the best in the country. And you have a quarterback room that I think has the guys that have the ability to get it to those playmakers and to give positive plays, right? That's the big thing that when you're looking at the quarterback this season is you just want them to be able to get it to the playmakers and not hurt you, right? Don't try to do too much. Don't try to cause issues. Just get it to your playmakers and let them make plays. And I think that Ty Simpson is going to be more than capable of doing that. Now, am I very excited to see what Keelan Russell is going to look like in mop-up duty and long-term in the future? Absolutely. But I think that Ty Simpson is your starting quarterback. I think the team has rallied behind that. I think the coaching staff knows that he's the guy. A lot of the stuff you're hearing, there's not really been any negatives coming out about Ty. I think that everybody doesn't want to, officially name it yet, just trying to keep everything hush-hush. But Ty Simpson is the guy. And I think that with him being the guy, I think that he will be a very good quarterback for Alabama. And again, if he is the top 5 quarterback in the SEC that I think he is capable of being this season, and again, I think it's going to be like a 4, 5, 6, 7 range. I think he's going to be in that range, but I definitely think he has the ability to be in that 4, 5 range. And if he can be that type of quarterback in the SEC this season, Alabama has the ability to win the SEC. And that's all you can ask for, right? If your quarterback is giving you the positive yardage and giving you the positive plays, the defense is giving you what it's capable of giving, Alabama can absolutely win the SEC. And there's nothing more you can ask for than that. So that's what I have to say. Again, I know this is just the first position breakdown. We have a lot more information. This is by far the smallest position on the offense, so we wanted to go through them first. We will go through, obviously, the wide receiving core, the line, and we'll go through the running backs and tight ends. So just a heads up, we will go through all the positions over on the offense. But I just wanted to start this out with the quarterbacks, especially with having Jet commit here this past week, or last weekend, so to speak. Just wanted to talk about this. If you are interested in all the football content or basketball content, if you could drop me a subscribe or follow the channel, it really does help me out. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. All your support means the world, and I will catch you in the